Grace Remington here with David Eickholt of the HawkeyeInsider, getting you ready for Iowa football fall camp and the upcoming season. David, we'll start with this Iowa offense, and I kind of cringe even thinking about it. Only 7 receiving touchdowns last year, the fewest of all Power 5 schools, but this offense getting a nice facelift through the transfer portal with Cade McNamara Erick All coming over from Michigan, then a couple of wide receivers. What kind of impact will these offensive newcomers have?
Yeah, and you know it's really bad when the touchdown receptions leader was a cornerback through the regular season, right? But no, I think they've done a really good job in the transfer portal. I think Iowa fans have been clamoring for Iowa to use the transfer portal more to get Cade McNamara, to get Erick All, and Caleb Brown, who probably got the biggest reception I've ever seen for a guy with one career catch. And, he's the highest rated wide receiver to ever commit to Iowa. He's looking at being wide receiver 1. And it's going to be very interesting because I think the personnel is now in place, and now it's all on Brian Ferentz. Can he execute the play calls efficiently? Because I've always said he's a very good football mind, very smart, but I think he's just not a good play caller. But there's really no excuses this season with the complete overhaul, I think, on the offense.
Well, yeah, you mentioned Brian Ferentz, so let's get into that. He kind of became a meme this offseason when details of his contract came out. He's required to score 25 points per game. He has to finish with 7 wins this season. The weird part comes because it wasn't specified, are those 25 points offense only, or can the defense score them too? So what kind of pressure is he really facing this season?
I think it's make or break. I mean, I said that last season. We saw kind of how things unfolded. And, the reality is this. If Brian Ferentz was anywhere else, he would have now returned as the coordinator. But obviously with Kirk being, his father and having a reputation, it's going to be very interesting because I do think it's going to be all on Brian Ferentz, all in the play calling. But that's also assuming that Iowa still has their elite defense, their elite special teams. And you mentioned it. Outside of all the amendments, and it is a complete meme, right?
Right.
I do think that they should have specified that's offense because Iowa field goal kicking is usually among the top in the country. The returning is usually among the top in the country. They record pick sixes at a high rate. The defense, they did it in the bowl game. Cooper DeJean had 3 of them last year. Xavier Wampa, 5-star safety, will be getting some time this year as well. The forced fumble recovery touchdowns. I really do think that's where they made one of many mistakes in the whole situation because it was a complete PR disaster, but it's not really going to matter as long as Iowa returns to Indianapolis this upcoming season. I think people can forget about the memes, forget about all of that, and they're like, you know what? They made it work somehow.
Yeah, Iowa football games, good for people who love special teams last year. But despite the less than offense, Hawkeyes did finish the season with 8 wins, only the 5th team to do so, by the way, this century, while averaging less than 20 points a game. Yeah, the 8 wins are not supposed to happen, but the wins total for this upcoming year set at 7.5.
Yeah.
So are you going over or under?
I'm not a financial advisor, but I think you put your mortgage on it. I think they're going to hit the over pretty easily. I mean, you look at this. They have the 3rd easiest schedule among Power 5 teams when it comes to wins and losses from 2022. They returned 16 starters, which is the most in the Kirk Ferentz era as well. And again, you return Torrey Taylor, who is 26 years old. He could have gone to the NFL, but he's been such a big weapon at punting. Drew Stevens at field goal kicking, probably an all Big Ten caliber guy. But it is amazing because, like you mentioned, they're 130th in total offense. They found a way to get 8 wins. It's a complete case study. 20 years from now, they're going to have a 30 for 30 about how Iowa managed to pull it off. But I think Iowa very comfortably gets the over. I think the expectation should be Indianapolis or bust, and I have them going 10-2.
I love how once again you mentioned the punter coming back. Can't get away from it. All right, thanks, David. And for more on Iowa throughout the year, check out HawkeyeInsider.com for all the news, best analysis from David and the rest of his team as they get you ready for 2022.